Hello, and welcome to our virtual Justice on the Block Informational Clinic for the CDC Eviction Order, also known as an Eviction Moratorium. My name is Charlotte Waters, Communications Manager for Legal Services of North Florida, and with me today is Giovanni Bush, Staff Attorney at LSNF. Hi, Giovanni.
Hello, good morning, everyone.
Good morning. So first things first, what's going on with this CDC Eviction Moratorium?
Yeah, Charlotte, thanks for asking. First thing, though, I want to remind folks what a moratorium is, right? A moratorium means a freezing right now of evictions. And the Center for Disease Control has put that in place through December 31st right now. But this is not automatic, and that's really what I think is the important thing to stress right now. So for people who are having a hard time or are unable to pay their rent, and if they're facing eviction, what happens is the Center for Disease Control has put in place a federal eviction moratorium by allowing individuals to sign and submit what they call a CDC declaration to their landlord. Now, everyone that signs that declaration is still required to pay rent, as well as any late fees that could be included in their lease agreements too. And so the CDC has ordered this, that those individuals that sign and submit that valid CDC declaration should not be evicted from their houses for right now through the end of the year.
Okay, so what are the types of requirements that go along with this CDC declaration?
Yeah, no, that's important. So that CDC declaration, when you sign it under the penalty of perjury. And so you've got to make sure to read it closely and make sure that you meet all of the 5 requirements. And so to go over those with you, the first one is an income requirement. What you're certifying is that you've made less than $90,000 during the year of 2020 or received a stimulus check from the government. The second is a financial impact requirement. And that's that you've had a substantial loss of wages or employment, or you could have experienced extraordinary medical expenses during the time of the pandemic. The third is the best efforts requirement. And that's where you must have made best efforts to obtain either government or community-based assistance for those rental payments. The fourth requirement is the risk of homelessness. Now, this means that if someone, the applicant was to be evicted at this time, you risk either being homeless or having to move into close quarters. That could be with family, relatives, or others. And finally, the last requirement is that you make timely payments. And so it requires individuals to make an effort to pay their rent when it's due to the best means possible. And that can mean even partial payments if they can work out an arrangement with their landlord based on what they can afford. Now, if anyone is unsure if they meet these requirements too, I highly recommend they consult with a lawyer or call our organization. We can run through those requirements with them. And once you sign that declaration, though, you then need to give a copy to the landlord, but also keep a copy for yourself, for your records, in case you need to prove that you've actually provided that to the signed copy to your landlord.
Okay, thanks, Giovanni. So what would you say to an individual that, say, they've signed that CDC declaration, but their landlord is still trying to evict them?
Yes, unfortunately, this has been a common scenario. And so what we see is once the landlord files that eviction in court, then once you are served with a summons and a complaint from that landlord, you have 5 days after you've been served to file what we call an answer to the eviction with the court. That's your written responses that you will file with the clerk of court. So once you've been served that summons and complaint, you need to contact your local clerk of court and talk to them about how you can get that answer to the eviction in within 5 days. It doesn't include holidays or legal holidays or weekends. And you need to explain in that written answer how you've been impacted during the pandemic financially and otherwise, and why you cannot pay your rent. And then you would attach a copy of that signed CDC declaration when you file it. And that's very helpful. It shows the court that you have signed that declaration and should be protected by the eviction moratorium. You should also file a motion to determine rent, though, right? A lot of times to defend yourself in court, you have to post and pay rent into the court registry to protect yourself. But if you can't do that, you can still file a motion telling the court that you should not have to pay rent into the court registry since you are protected by the CDC declaration at this time.
Okay, so what should a person do then once they've filed that CDC declaration and this answer with the court that you just mentioned?
Yeah, so the next steps that would likely happen is that the court will schedule an eviction hearing. And right now, a lot of those hearings are going to be held via Zoom or telephone. And so if you get a notice from the hearing from the clerk of court sent to you or from the court's judicial assistant, you need to reach out to them to figure out if that hearing information is on there. How can you appear? So that means you're going to need the Zoom meeting login details or the telephone number. That's key. Now, during the hearing, once you do call in or placed on the Zoom call, be patient. It could take a while sometimes. The courts can be backed up. But once you get to appear before the court and your landlord's there, you would politely ask the court to stay or to pause the eviction until December 31st due to the CDC declaration. Now, if you already had an eviction case go through a hearing process and either you didn't appear or you've already had an order that has come from a judge, what we call a final judgment, but a sheriff has not actually served you with a writ of possession to leave the property, there may be a chance that we could pause the eviction if you have not brought up the CDC declarations to the court attention or haven't signed and presented one of those. So if this is you, we recommend that you would consult with an attorney for help at this time.
All right, so besides this eviction moratorium and all that goes along with it, are there any other resources in our communities that provide financial rental assistance?
Yeah, there are actually. So as of right now, resources are slim at this time, and the federal government has yet to determine really what additional protections will be put in place after December 31st and what financial resources will be available. But right now, we recommend you call your local 211 number, and you can ask for financial rental assistance. And hopefully they can provide you a list of community partners that might be able to assist you. Also, starting after the new year, there'll be additional funding provided to other community partners. So residents in Calhoun, Franklin, Gadsden, Gulf, Jefferson, Leon, Liberty, and Wakulla counties, look to call your local capital area community action agency regarding financial rent assistance. Folks in Bay, Holmes, Jackson, Okaloosa, Santa Rosa, Walton, and Washington counties, you can call your local Tri-County Community Council. And then the residents in Escambia County can look to their Community Action Program Committee. But beyond that, we are also here at LSNF. We're here to provide any legal assistance to anyone that could be facing the uncertainty of eviction during this time. So that's what we do, and that's why we're here.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Giovanni. This has been very helpful. Thank you for joining us and giving us some information today. So this video that you guys have just watched provides legal information but should not be considered legal advice. This video does not create an attorney-client relationship or substitute legal advice that you've been given. You may have defenses that we haven't discussed here, so seeking out an attorney or legal help is always advisable. You can find more information about legal services of North Florida and other evictions and housing materials at lsnf.org. Or you can call us at 850-385-9007. Again, thank you all for joining us today, and we'll see you back here for our next clinic.
Thank you.